Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning if you're in the States, or good evening if you're in Asia Pacific. My name's Martin Cowan. I'm contributing editor for T News and moderator of today's T-Learn, which we're delighted to be hosting with our partners Trivago. Joining us, I've got Ali Thompson, who's the industry manager for UK and Ireland for Trivago, and helping me out in the background, pressing the buttons and twiddling the knobs, is Kevin May, senior editor at T News. As you know, and as you can see in front of your screen, the subject under discussion today is hoteliers are missing out on bookings by not embracing technology. Here's how. And as we all know, it can be quite daunting for hoteliers in today's day and age with all the technology options that they have available, all the tech things that they have to consider, from search engine optimization to booking engines, property management systems, CRS, reputation management, channel managers, the list goes on. Is it direct distribution, metas, indirect loyalty schemes? There's so much for hoteliers to get their head around at the moment. It must be quite daunting for them. But what we hope Trivago will explain over the next 35 or 40 minutes or so is that it's not actually that daunting, and that there are ways that hoteliers can embrace technology, get bookings, and still deliver what ultimately they are all about, which is delivering a great guest experience. Before I hand over to Ali, just a couple of points. We're recording this T-Learn. The slides and the recording will be available on tnews.com after the event. You'll also get a link sent to you from GoToWebinar, which will connect you to the slides and the recording. Feel free to share that link with any of your friends and colleagues. Let them know what a fabulous webinar this was. There's also, on the right hand side of your screen, there's a little dashboard, so if you want to ask any questions throughout the event, then please do so. We'll try and get around to answering as many of them as we can at the end, but rest assured that any questions that come through are logged by GoToWebinar, and the Trivago team will try and get back to you and answer individually. So hopefully that's everything set up and ready. So if I can just hand you over to Ali, here we go.
Hello everyone. Hi Kevin and Martin and everyone joining us. Thank you so much for the warm introduction, and everyone around the world. It's nice of you to join us as well. I think we've got some people from far afield and also some very close by, so it's great to have such a spread around the globe. Once again, it's a great opportunity for Trivago to share our insights with hoteliers about being competitive online and driving direct bookings, and by using the technology available to do that. We've got quite a lot of things to get through today, so I'm just going to get straight into it. And let me just check with the technical that it's working. Right, so in the slim chance that you don't know who Trivago is because you haven't seen any of our ads on the television, or perhaps you weren't with us for the last webinar that we did here with T News, let me just give you a little bit of an introduction to Trivago and some context to our role in the online marketing for hotels. So we're a leading global hotel meta search. We receive 1.4 billion visits per year from travellers around the world. So those are spread across our 55 localised websites, which are translated into 33 different languages. 90% of online users can actually access Trivago in their native language, and this has been part of the reason that we've grown to this level in a very quick space of time, and those numbers continue to grow. But aside from the numbers, and more importantly for the purpose of this presentation, we're a hotel technology company. Our goal is to empower hoteliers to connect with these millions and millions of global travellers, and one of the core ways we do this is by providing enabling technology for hotels. I'd be very surprised if anyone joining us today was not aware of the so-called direct booking wars, or the battle for the guest. And the reason we focus so much on developing simple to use, affordable and hotelier-centric technology is because it's becoming increasingly crucial in this battle for the guest. In actual fact, it's not just crucial, it's absolutely indispensable, which is what we want to get across today. So with technology being the focus, and also timely because of the very big event happening in the UK today, which I'm sure everybody's aware of, we're going to start with a poll question. Not such a critical result will arise from this poll, but we all know that technology is transforming the world faster than ever in all industries. In our lifetimes, we've seen technology develop at fascinating rates, and the hotel industry is by no means immune to this development. Technology for hotels plays a huge role in online distribution, and it's also clear that online distribution is becoming more and more important if a hotel is to remain competitive. So we want to know whether you know how much is really at stake, and that's what I want to ask you now as our listeners. So Kevin, with the buttons in the background, can you assist me now with launching this poll? So the question is, in the next 8 years, by how much will online bookings increase? What would you expect? So you can see there are 3 options there. You can choose that there will be no increase, or that they will increase by approximately 50%, or they'll increase by approximately 100%. So fire away with your answers there. We'll give it a minute or so to ponder the thought and add your answer.
So Ali, I mean, what do you think the answer is going to be?
Well, this is always one of those things where I already know the answer. You see, I have the inside intelligence, but it's the reason we ask questions like this is because it's always interesting to gauge people's perspective of the technology and online industry, and sort of to know how much of an impact there really is. Right, so we've got the results in front of us now. So 56% has said 100%, 43% have said 50%, and 2% has said no increase. So that's actually quite a good result, because we do happen to know that the correct option was the third one, that they will increase by approximately 100%. So if we can go back to the slides now, we will continue. So from our Trivago business intelligence data, we've actually been able to predict that by the year 2025, which is just 8 years from now, there will be twice as many online bookings as there are now. Online bookings will easily surpass offline bookings, and that's going to happen in less than a decade. You'll also on the screen, even though bookings will increase overall as the market grows, fewer and fewer of those bookings will be made offline. So I hope you'll agree that this illustrates the urgency for hoteliers to get online as quickly as possible, and in other words, immediately. The fact of the matter is that hoteliers who aren't yet online are already missing out on bookings. For proof of that, we just need to look at the book guests. So half of all online hotel bookers or travellers use meta-search as the starting point for finding and booking their hotels. That number will only increase, and you can look to the fastest growing segment of travellers for more proof, and that group is millennials. A recent report from Focusrite, released just last month, shows that 63% of all millennial travellers are using meta-search. This means that meta-search's position as a major marketing channel is therefore growing. This group of travellers is not only the fastest growing, they're also the most influential. We're seeing millennial booking behaviour with older and younger generations alike, and more travellers of all demographics are going online and using technology to find, compare and book their hotels. So we're talking about this today because hotels have to start adapting to and accommodating these changing behaviours, because if they don't, not only will they continue to miss out on more and more bookings, but the proportion of direct bookings is actually going to cause them to lose control of their distribution. So as the online market grows and as new players start vying for bookings, hotels will find it harder and harder to control their balance of direct and indirect bookings. Why is that? It's because it's harder for them to secure direct bookings. You can see there the proportion, though the number of direct bookings may grow, in that whole online booking space, the number could be not as dominant as indirect bookings. So as long as hoteliers remain offline, the online travel agencies that you're working with will continue on winning those online bookings as this market segment grows. So for a hotel over the long term, will create a greater dependency on those distribution channels and the high commission costs that come with them as indirect bookings. This lack of control over hotel distribution is quite alarming, and as it can result in an imbalanced distribution mix that's less profitable than a healthy one and actually not financially sustainable in the long run. And that leads us to the big question. It's obvious that hoteliers need to be online, so why aren't they? What we want to talk about today is what is keeping hoteliers from adopting technology, because by understanding this problem, then you can understand how to overcome it. We've identified 3 key factors that are keeping hoteliers from adopting technology. So now we're going to take a look at what they are. We've looked into what it is that's preventing hoteliers from embracing the digital world, and we've discovered a wall of sorts. It's a technology wall that's blocking hoteliers from adopting technology and therefore creating a barrier between hoteliers and travellers who might stay with their hotel. The wall is composed of 3 main parts. The first part is that technology is difficult to access. The second part is that booking engines are not competitive. And the third part is that direct marketing channels are too complex. So to better understand each of these obstacles and the challenges they represent, we're going to examine them one by one. So the first main obstacle that's keeping hoteliers from adopting technology is technology itself. In particular, the fact that technology is expensive, it's not intuitive, and it makes it difficult to use and apply in the hotel business. A lot of technology comes with a hefty price tag and costly hardware, a lot of installation and maintenance fees, and many hoteliers, and certainly hoteliers that we speak to, simply can't find a way to overcome this economic hurdle. Those hoteliers who can afford it still find that technology is largely inaccessible from a user's perspective. It's complicated, it's not user-friendly, it takes too long to get it set up, and it requires extensive and time-consuming staff training. In short, not only is technology too expensive, it's too complicated, it's too inefficient to make the investment worth it. So this first factor goes a long way to explaining why hoteliers are so hesitant to adopt technology, and this is something we see in the data. What you see here are the results of a Focusrite study from 2015 showing the adoption of key technologies by independent hoteliers. This study found that over 1/3 of independent hoteliers in the US don't have a mobile-friendly website. 40% of them don't even have a booking engine, and more than half of them don't have a property management system. And if you see there, then across Europe. The number of hoteliers with mobile apps is also frighteningly low. As I previously mentioned, the booking behaviour of millennials and the importance of adapting to them, with this in mind, that millennials are leading the trend of booking on mobile devices. We're looking at far too many hoteliers who aren't able to compete online because they're not there. Hoteliers who are sacrificing an increasing number of booking opportunities. It's a very dangerous position for you to be in, as you can imagine, and as I said, with the growth of the online and wanting to gain more of those direct bookings. These numbers that we're seeing here are nowhere near where they need to be if hoteliers are going to secure the business going into the future. The second technology obstacle that hoteliers are facing is booking engines themselves. They're just not competitive, they're not user-friendly, and they're filled with poor content and rates that aren't kept up to date enough to be attractive. These are the booking engines that we're talking about that you integrate into your own hotel website to enable travellers to book with you directly. These booking engines aren't set up to support the detailed hotel information, appealing visuals, and up-to-date rates that compel travellers to complete their booking. And this means that even if you succeed in getting travellers to your hotel website, your booking engine will sabotage your efforts. In fact, according to an article in the Hospitality Times, approximately 95% of users abandon their booking process when they get to the hotel's booking engine. So those booking engines are failing to convert lookers into bookers and failing to turn interested travellers into paying guests. So what's the solution to the booking engine problem? It's user experience. A seamless user experience for the traveller is extremely important if they're going to complete their booking. Unfortunately, in the case of most hotels, the traveller's online journey comes to a sudden stop when they reach the hotel's website, if they reach the hotel's website. Travellers are landing on outdated websites and then immediately leaving. In another internal study that we did with Trivago Business Intelligence last year, we found that online travel agencies currently have conversion rates that are 2 times higher than the conversion rates of hotels' websites. That means they're converting twice as many bookings as hoteliers, and that's significant. The underlying issue here is that smaller hotels simply lack the resources that big OTAs have at their disposal. Hoteliers don't often have a team of developers and designers to maintain and constantly update their websites and their booking engines. They don't have experts analysing user behaviours to determine how to optimise these pages and convert the most direct bookings. And as we've seen, they don't have the access to intuitive and user-friendly options. Left to their own devices, hoteliers are stuck with websites that actually disrupt the user experience and send the traveller away, and that results in them booking with the third party, or worse, with a competitor. So not only is the hotelier missing out on those bookings, they're giving them away, effectively decreasing their competitiveness. The third and final obstacle in the technology wall is direct marketing channels. And I'm just waiting for these slides to catch up with me. Excuse me for a moment. There we go. So direct marketing channels are too complex. As the industry evolves, hotel marketing, and indeed marketing in general, gets more complicated. Email campaigns, search engine optimization, excuse me, tripping over my own tongue, display advertising, these are just some of the marketing tactics big companies are using to target today's travellers. And they're by no means simple methods, nor are they necessarily cheap. To be effective, they require specific marketing expertise, years of experience, and a staff dedicated entirely to managing these channels and marketing activities. They also require significant investment, none of which can be found at an independent hotelier's available resources. So unfortunately, this means that hotel marketing is not a level playing field. We're aware of it, hoteliers are aware of it, but it doesn't have to remain that way. In the same Focusrite report I cited previously, hoteliers were asked to state some of their biggest concerns about direct marketing channels. So here is what they said. Managing multiple channels, a hotelier's focus is on their hotel and their guests. So they have neither the time nor the capacity to handle the full-time job of running effective marketing channels and activities in several places. Excuse me. The next thing they said was keeping up with the latest technology. Continuous updates and the rapid-fire introduction of new products mean that by the time a hotelier learns how to use one piece of technology, it's already obsolete. And hoteliers can't afford to invest in new technology every time the latest version is released. Third thing they said is lacking qualified staff. There's just no room in most hoteliers' budgets to hire additional staff to focus solely on marketing. It's just not realistic. So that has to be carried out by the people in other roles in the hotel. So hoteliers feel like hotel marketing is an uphill battle, which is why many don't find it worthwhile to even try fighting. But we think it's worth it. So here's some data from the Data and Marketing Association in the US, and they find that hoteliers find marketing channels to be ineffective at driving direct bookings. They found that although email marketing is the channel with the highest potential return on investment, only about 10% of hoteliers in both Europe and the US recognize its value. Most travellers won't book a hotel before reading several online reviews for it, yet half of all hoteliers believe that travel review websites are beneficial in converting bookers. They also found that social media is rapidly becoming a critical platform for hotels to engage with vast and growing audiences. Yet around 85% of hoteliers are missing this opportunity completely. So in short, rather than leveraging the huge potential marketing opportunities that these channels represent, the majority of hoteliers are actually neglecting them. So how to capitalize on the traveler's online journey? Even if the future appears pretty impossible, it's not. Difficult, yes. Challenging, absolutely, but not impossible. So I hope that this doesn't come across as too doom and gloom, because now we're going to make it all clearer for you. So it's possible to overcome these obstacles and tear down that technology wall that's separating hoteliers from travellers. It's possible to capitalize on the traveller's shift to an online journey rather than miss out on bookings because of it. To break down this technology wall, let's break down the traveller's journey into 3 key stages. Each stage presents an opportunity for the hotelier to streamline the guest experience and encourage more bookings. When the traveller is searching, the hotelier can make sure that the hotel is findable. When the traveller is ready to book, the hotelier can make sure the hotel is bookable. And when the traveller is staying as a guest, the hotelier can make sure their hotel is manageable so that they can focus on also being an exceptional host. And when the hotelier leverages technology to automate all of these stages, they're able to create a seamless traveller experience. We've already highlighted that 1 in 2 online bookers is using meta-search as a way to find their ideal hotel. So to make your hotel findable, use meta-search as a marketing channel. Meta search is not just a trend, it's a testament to a fundamental and lasting shift in the way travellers search for and select hotels. By taking control of online profiles, hoteliers can make sure that their hotels will rank higher in travellers' search results on meta search. And not just rank higher, but appear more attractive, with high-quality images, engaging descriptions, and complete hotel details in order to drive more bookings. Secondly, make your hotel bookable. To make the hotel bookable, hoteliers can encourage both direct bookings and work with OTAs to establish the right distribution mix for their business. This will give you greater profit and sustainability in the long term. This is where a competitive booking engine and optimized website comes in. With both of those things, hoteliers can drive direct bookings alongside indirect bookings for a more diverse distribution mix and then less dependency on a small number of channels. The solutions there you can see is the optimized website, which I mentioned already, and a booking engine, and thirdly, using a channel manager. So by using a channel manager, hoteliers can maintain a real-time overview of the distribution of their rooms on a single platform and be more responsive to performance of different distribution channels. It's not the case that performance of all channels will always track at the same pace. There will be peaks and troughs where one channel outperforms another, and that swings in the opposite direction at a different time. Hoteliers need to be able to adjust their availability across their channels easily so that they can react on these performance trends and capitalize on them. And thirdly, make your hotel manageable by using a property management system. Because a hotelier's focus should always be on the guest, they can use a tailored property management system to simplify day-to-day activities and enhance the guest experience. Moving from pen and paper to automated hotel operations, taking away the risk of misplaced reservation requests to having a central reservation system. From being chained to the desk to having the freedom to access and manage the hotel from a cloud-based system from anywhere at any time. The bottom line of this is that instead of focusing on the behind the scenes of running a hotel, hoteliers can get back to focusing on caring for their guests and spending more time with them. So then how do you deal with technology that's not accessible? Booking engines that aren't competitive, direct marketing channels that are too complex. The simple answer to this is that you don't deal with them. You find alternative solutions that are affordable, competitive, and simple to use, and ideally you find it all in one place. So from our side, here's how we can help. Instead of piecing together different technologies, losing time and money, you can create a seamless traveller experience by using technology that's already integrated together to save more time. So to make your hotel findable and to use meta search as a marketing channel, there's Trivago Hotel Manager. To make your hotel bookable, there's Trivago Direct Connect for direct bookings. And to make your hotel manageable, there's Base 7 Bookings cloud-based property management system. Some final words of advice, and I think probably this has been loud and clear already, is get online, go digital, and embrace technology. Although it's hard, it's not impossible, but what it is absolutely critical, because over the long term, as that online booking proportion grows and offline bookings decrease, being online is the only way to secure your bookings and be sustainable. Technology is transforming the world still, and as a hotelier, you can either transform with it or you can be left behind. And that brings me to the end of the slides. So now I'll hand back to Martin.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ali. That was fascinating. There's a lot of fresh insights in there. I mean, I was particularly interested in the comment that you made about 95% of people abandon the hotel bookings when they get to the website. I mean, that's a staggering statistic, one that I hadn't come across before. Just a reminder to the audience, we've got just under 15 minutes, or well, why not 15 minutes of questions. So if anybody's got anything they want to ask of Ali, feel free to use the chat function on the right hand side of your screen. But maybe just while you're thinking about what questions to ask, so I've got a couple, and I'm interested in the search, book and stay way that you break up the journey. I mean, of those three, which do you think is the one that a sort of reluctant tech hotelier should be looking at first? I mean, Is it the search, the book, or the stay? My instinct would be that it's the booking is probably the most important. But then I'm not a hotelier, I'm just a journalist. What do you think of those three should be where the initial focus could be?
Well, in terms of the reluctance, we do see the reluctance across all three stages, but actually the point is that you can't prioritize one part of the journey over others. It actually is about finding a package that serves all three parts, and that's why I mentioned that it's better and more efficient to look for technology solutions that are already working together. So, for example, I mentioned the website with the booking engine and the channel manager, and then the property management system. When you have a channel manager and property management system that work well together, what actually happens is that you sit there at your PMS and you put your hotel room availability in there, and that automatically communicates it to your channel manager, and then your channel manager automatically communicates that to all of your booking channels. So you don't have to spend time watching a booking come in and then saying, oh, now I need to take that room availability away from those other channels, because then I'll end up with duplications and overbookings. That's the whole point. Is it's not about trying to prioritize one part of this journey over the others. It's about seeking a technology package solution that covers all of them, so that you have more automated processes, and it's much more efficient. So that, for example, there's no point being putting a lot of effort into being findable if your hotel isn't bookable. Same time, there's no point putting a lot of effort making your hotel bookable when nobody's going to find your hotel in the first place. So you can't have one without the other, basically. That's sort of the message that we're trying to get across, is treating it as a package and really addressing the whole journey rather than isolating particular parts.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, there's a couple of questions coming through. Somebody was referencing slide 12, which is, if I recall, was the statistics from Focusrite comparing the US and Europe, and the question asked why, in your opinion, European hotels seem to be slightly more ahead of the curve than American hotels. I mean, is that your experience as well? And if so, what do you think the reasons for that might be?
So the statistics there show that the adoption of US and Europe, actually the US hotels are further ahead on the adoption than Europe hotels across the board. There are a lot of reasons for that. Things like the the number of chains versus independent hotels comes into play there. It also depends on the type of market within the US and within Europe. Things like, why are people traveling there in the first place? There's a lot of traditional holiday places where hotels haven't gone online necessarily because they have a lot of established connections with, the old-fashioned travel agents, for want of a better description. And to a certain extent, for some hotels that's still working, but what we're trying to make clear is that will change. It's starting to change, and it's going to change a lot more and a lot more rapidly. And already we see that hotels are feeling left behind, and that will only get worse if they don't act and take control of technology now.
Okay, and how do hotels in Asia compare from your experience, from in terms of their position on the tech adoption curve?
I actually couldn't answer that. I don't have any statistics in front of me about Asia just now. But again, very different markets to the US and to Europe. Certainly online penetration across Asia in some parts is as high or higher than in parts of Europe and the US. And you've also got the other end of the spectrum there as well. A lot of there's still some developing countries in Asia where online penetration wouldn't be as significant. So quite a possibly even more diverse market in Asia for that. But I don't have any exact statistics in front of me to answer that now. But certainly we can source some.
Okay, I look forward to seeing them. Millennials, you talked about millennials in the context of looking ahead. Millennials are the largest traveller group. They're spending. These are the guys and girls that have grown up with with technology, and presumably a lot of the uplift in online bookings is coming from more millennials coming into the market. I mean, how important is it for hoteliers to be aware of this in terms of looking at their distribution strategy?
I think it's hugely important, and again, as you've pointed out, millennials are the group that have grown up with technology, and in a few decades time we will have the entire population will have grown up with technology at their fingertips. Something that I find quite interesting is to relate it back to that statistic of 95% of people are bouncing from hotel websites. If you think about that in the context of millennials and why that might be, it's because these huge advances in technology have, with smartphones and apps and everything that we have, has really driven us to be much more about the instant gratification, and we really have that expectation that it will happen instantaneously. For example, when you search for a hotel on Trivago, we're combing more than 1 million hotels around the world and rates from over 200 booking sites, yet you get those results in less than 2 seconds. And just to think about the huge infrastructure behind that to make that happen, and yet that's quite impressive, but if we didn't deliver that, people would be, they just simply wouldn't accept that as a viable product. And that's part of the reason hotel websites become really important, is because if somebody's followed a booking search phase and they end up on a website that looks like something out of something built on a MS-DOS in 1992 or something, then that doesn't match up, and it's not going to serve the online experience that the traveller expects.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I mean, I'm sure there are lots of people listening in that remember the days of dial-up, when if you got onto a website within 5 seconds, you were whooping with joy. Now, 5 seconds, we've already gone. You've lost us.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting discussion beyond hotel distribution is the attention span of humankind, but that's a separate conversation. I mean, just sort of looping back again to the search book stay and your response to my question earlier about trying to have a system that connected all 3 phases. I mean, when you and your sales team are out and about talking to hoteliers, I mean, who within the hotel is generally in charge of the tech? I mean, are your system sort of intuitive enough, and do you have online learning modules for hoteliers, or do you need some level of expertise to be able to manage hotel distribution through your tools?
I think it's very easy to say, no, you don't need any expertise. I mean, I think if you've never looked at a computer screen before, it might be a whole new world. However, the intention and the goal is that these products and the technology that you use is completely intuitive, because you shouldn't have to spend days working out how to do something. When you go into a search, if you go into Trivago, it's very obvious where you're going to search for that hotel. Should be the same when you go into your property management system to manage a booking. That all of those processes, we do a lot. We spend a lot of time analysing user behaviours and testing different approaches to find out exactly what is the most intuitive way for that product to behave, so that the person can just log in and go straight away rather than spending a lot of time learning it.
Okay, I know I'm not necessarily wanting to give you the opportunity for a sales pitch, but I mean, there are other businesses in the same field as yours. I mean, why? What do you think that Trivago offers that other your competitors and peers don't?
Well, one of our biggest strengths is that we're focused just on hotels. So I often think of the saying of being a jack of all trades and a master of none. We really focus on being the master of hotel meta search. that's our core business, and we don't have any distractions trying to integrate that with anything else. We are focused on the hotels, which also allows us to be really focused on what hoteliers need. And I mentioned that we have a goal of empowering hoteliers to be competitive online. Certainly our mission statement is to be the first and independent source for travellers to find their ideal hotel, and a huge part of that is for hotels to be able to be found by those travellers, and we're not serving travellers well unless we're serving them with accurate information about the hotel, unless we're presenting that hotel exactly as they will find it. So we need to work really closely with hotels for that, and that's I think what sets us apart from others.
Okay, and then maybe just one, bigger picture around on Trivago. I mean, so you've got the, the consumer-facing websites, then you've got these sort of B2B, tools in the background. When you're talking to the CEO and your investors, what are they most excited about? Is it growing the consumer end of the business, or the B2B side of the business, or are the two, do they grow in unison?
I think the latter, that growth in unison. As I said, we want to serve the travellers to help them find the best hotel that they want to stay at, and for us to do that, we have to be the best source of information about hotels. And at an individual level, the best person to tell you about a hotel is the owner of that hotel, and the person who lives and breathes, hospitality and the guest experience. So one of those, the consumer side and the business side, can't exist without each other, basically. So
okay,
we're very excited about both.
Good. I can tell. Well, listen, we've we could go on, but I know we've all got things to get on with. We've got to go out and vote, all sorts of stuff. So thank you very much, Ali, for your time today. Thank you as well, everybody who's logged in to listen to this. As I mentioned, you'll be getting an email from GoToWebinar, which will have a link through. That will come out in a day's time. If you can't wait, the slides and replays and everything will be up on T News later on this evening. Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Kev, in the background. And again, thank you very much. And I hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Martin.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.